And it looked like there is some interesting information coming out about NBA investors, the future of the WNBA, and will Caitlin Clark actually have a 2026 season?
The WNBA has no money. Not just having trouble, not just going through a difficult time, but completely broke. And now, after nearly 30 years of investing in this league, the investors are finally saying enough is enough. We are discussing a league that has never, ever made money. Not once, not in a single year. Take a moment to consider that. A professional sports league has been losing money since 1997. That equates to over 30 years of financial loss.
Until Caitlin Clark got here, I'ma keep it real. Ain't no ducking, ain't no hiding from me. I came when greatness came. Now, I'm pretty sure there's many of you that's in the same situation as me. So I did not know this league been going through growing pains for the last 30 damn years. How the hell do you go through growing pains for 30 years? Please explain that to me. And then how the hell do you not turn a profit for 30 years?
The WNBA is not a company at this time. It's a basketball jersey charity case. This is when things start to get interesting. The NBA owners, who have been responsible for the league's survival, are becoming irritated. Over the years, they have contributed hundreds of millions of dollars to the WNBA. And in return, what do they have? Only loses. The WNBA has developed into the ultimate money trap year after year. Cash simply vanishes into thin air when you toss it in. As far as the eye can see, there are no dividends or returns, just red ink. But hold on, things get worse. The league is anticipated could lose an additional $4 to $50 million only this season. It's not a typo. $40 to $50 million was lost. Poof. Disappeared into thin air.
I think the WNBA is bankrupt. Oh, I think they hella bankrupt. I think they've been bankrupt. I think it's so bankrupt that the owners is just using the WNBA as a tax write-off. They gotta be. It gotta be a tax write-off. It is dead cap over there, bro. It gotta be. Could you imagine being a WNBA owner and you're sitting there like, damn, year after year after year, well, hell, it's just turning into a tax write-off at this point because they haven't turned a profit.
At a time when the league is expected to be more well-liked than ever, this is taking place. Record viewership was brought in by Caitlin Clark. Crowds for the finals were sold out. Engagement on social media was skyrocketing. And for whatever reason, the league continues to lose money. How on earth does that occur? With all of this attention, you would think the WNBA would be profitable at last. But no, millions are still being lost. Allow me to explain this to you. In addition to being unprofitable, the WNBA is catastrophically unprofitable. We are discussing a league that loses between $10 and $50 million annually. Critics and haters are not the source of those figures. The real financial reports are those.
Then greatness came, which is Caitlin Clark. Now, Caitlin Clark comes, everybody forget the last 30 damn years. How is that? Now y'all want revenue sharing, profit sharing. To me, this is just me. Why don't y'all just get y'all money and play basketball? So you went from not making $1 million to potentially making $1 million max cap. They talking about offer you $500,000 guaranteed. Get your money. That's just me. You know, these people has been losing money for 30 damn years.
The WNBA would have dissolved long ago if the NBA hadn't written checks each year. There wouldn't be a league, players, games, or anything else. This is the worst part. The investors are not foolish. They are able to read a balance sheet. They are able to recognize when a situation is hopeless. And many of them are beginning to wonder why they should keep throwing good money after bad after nearly 30 years of losses. For affluent owners, the WNBA has reduced itself to a tax write-off. The only rational explanation is that. Otherwise, why would anyone continue to invest in a business that consistently loses money?
NBA investors is looking like they're ready to pull the plug on the WNBA. That says WNBA will lose $40 million this season and its investors are growing impatient. They've been impatient. While the WNBA is getting sold-out crowds for the finals between the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx. Now, this is from a year or two ago. It says the NBA owners nearly 60% of the league. When one combines the NBA owners' personal stake in WNBA teams, the WNBA itself and the amount rises to 75%.
Unless you are using those losses to offset your taxes somewhere else, it does not make business sense. This league is owned by the NBA. Furthermore, I'm not using that as a metaphor. It is literally theirs. The NBA owners hold almost 75% of the business when you combine their individual investments in WNBA teams with league ownership. NBA money owns 3/4 of the WNBA. This implies that the WNBA is just a side project for billionaires who already make real money from a legitimate basketball league. The WNBA is like the younger sister who constantly begs for money, but never gives it back. Let me now put things in context. Owners of NBA teams have made hundreds of millions of dollars. Since 1996, the WNBA has received millions of dollars. Millions upon millions. Even for billionaires, that is not pocket change. What is the return on that investment? Nothing at all.
Starting in 2026, the WNBA will get that $2 billion media rights deal. See, the media rights deal for the W comes this year. I think, this is just my personal opinion, I think that's why they're holding out. The ladies want some of that $2 billion media right there. Here's the thing. We don't know how the media right deal is going to look because viewership is down. My viewership's still down.
It was said simply by an NBA franchise executive. The WNBA owes the NBA so much money that it will be years before anyone sees a return, even if the league turns a profit tomorrow. Years. Here, we are not discussing a speedy turnaround. It will take a miracle to climb out of the hole because it is so deep. However, this is the thing that truly baffles you. The league continues to grow. There are new teams emerging everywhere. Franchises are being offered for absurdly high prices. The Golden State Valkyries are a recent addition to the league. A team is coming to Portland. Toronto is a contender. How can a league that is losing $40 to $50 grow when you are unable to pay your apartment's rent? From a financial perspective, it is completely nonsensical. Consider it this way. The NBA must provide funding to the WNBA each and every year. The league continues to act as though nothing is wrong despite the fact that the losses mount, the debt increases, and the investors become increasingly irate each year. They continue to sign contracts, add teams, and act as though profitability is imminent. However, the figures are accurate. For nearly 30 years, this league has been losing money. When will you acknowledge that the business model is flawed?
On the NBA funding, that's what I was telling you. It's basically a tax write-off for the owners. With reported losses around $10 million annually, historically, and potentially $40 to $50 million in 2024, revenue has increased significantly. With projections near $100 million to $200 million, but expenses remain higher, keeping it in the red, guys. There is no saving the W. They've been running negative. The league should have been gone. The WNBA is bankrupt. They're bankrupt, bro. And they need to file chapter something at this point. The owners is trying. I get the owners that. They're trying to get y'all.
Additionally, the losses are substantial. In a good year, we're talking about $10 million, and in a disastrous year, $50 million. These are the estimates that are currently in circulation. The expenses are still greater even though income is expected to reach between $100 and $200 million. The league's expenses exceed its earnings. That's business 101 when it comes to bankruptcy. When the money coming in is less than the money going out, you cannot spend your way to prosperity. It's easy math. Additionally, the WNBA's math isn't working right now. The numbers are seen by the investors. They are aware of what is going on, and they are becoming impatient. A full-fledged impasse has emerged in the CBA discussions. For the uninitiated, CBA is an acronym for Collective Bargaining Agreement. The players' and league's contract essentially determines how much each player is paid. Additionally, that contract is currently up for renewal. More money is what the players desire. 30 years of losses are what the owners are facing. You can see where this is headed. No one is moving. The time is running out and nobody wants to blink first. The drama truly starts at this point. The players were given a 6-week extension by the league to work things out. The players may have called a strike against the league during that period. There are no games or seasons, just empty venues and irate spectators. As of right now, although there hasn't been an official call for a strike, tension is still present. The athletes are waiting. They desire a larger share of the pie. The only issue is that the pie has been becoming smaller over the past 30 years. It becomes spicy at this point. There were reports circulating a few weeks ago that specific players were delaying the agreement. On the internet, some individuals blamed Caitlin Clark. They claimed that she was the source of the issues. This is the problem, though. There isn't a single WNBA player that has come forward to confirm or refute who is holding out. Right now, it's just conjecture. We do know that one or more individuals are not content with what is being supplied, and everything remains frozen until they receive what they desire. Let's now discuss the players' true goals. The WNBA is scheduled to sign a brand new $2 billion media rights agreement beginning in 2026. $2 billion. In comparison to what the league has been using, that sum of money is enormous. When the players see that figure, they want their share. They desire income sharing. Profit sharing is what they desire. They're looking for assurances. Can you really blame them? Why shouldn't the players receive a fair part of the $2 billion that is going to enter the league? However, this is the issue that no one wants to deal with. For 30 years, the league has been losing money. This entire time, the owners have been responsible for paying the bills. Additionally, the players want to pretend that they have been the ones carrying the strain now that a sizable payout may finally be approaching. Wait a minute. The owners are thinking as they sit there. Since 1997, we have been losing money. When no one was interested, we kept this league going. You now want us to divide the first actual money we may ever come upon. It's a difficult pill to swallow. Because both parties believe they are entitled to more, the negotiations are at a standstill. And the 2026 season continues to loom large over everyone's heads until someone caves. Clark, Caitlin, altered everything. The WNBA was essentially non-existent prior to her arrival. The majority of respondents were unable to identify a single team. The majority of people were unable to identify a single player. While the NBA owners continued to write checks to keep the lights on, the league was hobbling along in obscurity. Everyone immediately wanted to watch women's basketball once Caitlin left Iowa. Ratings skyrocketed. The number of attendees surged. Sales of jerseys surged. The WNBA was genuinely relevant for the first time in 30 years. This is when things get insane. The league is still losing money despite all of that attention. That seems crazy, so let me say it again. Record viewership was brought in by Caitlin Clark. The Fever of Indiana become a must-watch on television. Crowds for the Minnesota Lynx and New York Liberty finals were sold out. There was constant humming on social media. And the league was still able to lose between $4 and $50 million. How on earth is that possible? Even after adding the most well-liked player in league history, you are still unable to make money. That type of failure is unique. Let's examine Caitlin's contributions to this league in more detail. She attracted people who had never seen a WNBA game before. She attracted sponsors who had never thought about funding women's basketball. The league had been yearning for media attention since 1997, and she delivered it. One player contributed more to the WNBA's visibility in a single season compared to the league as a whole in 30 years. However, the financial position is still dire for some reason. The income went up. Even though estimates range from $100 to $200 million, the costs still exceed the revenue. And this raises an important query. Who can save this league if Caitlin Clark can't? She is genuinely the most significant development in women's basketball history. In college, she set every record possible. She increased the WNBA's viewership by millions. A faltering franchise was transformed into appointment watching by her alone. Additionally, the league continues to sink in red ink. What more do they require? A miracle? Because nothing appears to be working right now. The WNBA actually has a budgetary issue. They are growing too quickly. Before the current teams can turn a profit, they are forming new ones. They are footing the bill for something they cannot afford. Caitlin Clark's revenue boost ought to have been a lifesaver. It ought to have been the turning point in the league's history. Rather, they continue to forecast losses for the near future. No matter how you slice the math, it doesn't work. If you are only making $100 million, you cannot spend $150 million. Even elementary school students are aware that the calculation will not work out. However, the individuals in charge of this league continue to believe they can outspend their issues. They can't, spoiler alert. The 2026 season is in jeopardy. I'm not being theatrical, either. The CBA talks have reached a deadlock. From that $2 billion media deal, the athletes demand more money. The owners are fed up with losing millions of dollars annually. No one is prepared to make concessions. Additionally, Caitlin Clark may not have a season to play in if they are unable to resolve this. Take a moment to consider that. Because the adults in the room can't get their act together, the most popular player in WNBA history could not have a league to play for. Here's what makes this situation even more absurd. The agreement for media rights does not begin until 2026. This indicates that the league is at odds over unpaid funds. They are fighting over how to divide a pie that is still in the oven. In the meantime, the losses continue to mount. The time is running out for a possible lockout or strike, and investors are growing increasingly irate. Everyone is so preoccupied with making money in the future that they are oblivious to the current catastrophe that is taking place in front of them. However, let's be honest about something. This league might not be saved even if the $2 billion transaction is finalized. Over the course of 3 decades, the WNBA has demonstrated that it is capable of losing money under all circumstances. When no one paid, they lost money. Was observing. Now that everyone is watching, they are losing money. What gives somebody the impression that they will suddenly understand profitability simply because a larger check arrives? The revenue is not the issue. The expenditure is the issue. No amount of media money will address the underlying problems unless the league learns to operate within its means. The investors are aware of this. For nearly 30 years, they have been patient. They've written check after check after check. They have witnessed their money vanish into a hole of losses. Even billionaires eventually grow weary of investing money in unsuccessful ventures. The NBA is owed so much money by the WNBA that any future earnings will immediately start repaying previous bills. Even in the best-case scenario, the investors won't see returns for years. Why would they continue to invest, then? Why would they continue to have faith in a league that has let them down for 30 years in a row? The truth is straightforward but unpleasant. The WNBA is in critical condition. This entire time, the NBA has been its breathing apparatus. The individuals who are paying for that ventilator are now beginning to ask awkward questions. Is it worthwhile to do this? Will it ever be worthwhile? Should we simply turn off the electricity and leave? These discussions are currently taking place behind closed doors. The 2026 season may or may not take place. Caitlin Clark may or may not be able to participate in a league. Whether or not the owners and players can come to an agreement before it's too late will determine everything. The league's fate will be determined in the next months. The WNBA will survive to fight another day if the CBA is completed. If it collapses, we might witness a lockout, a strike, or worse, the total demise of a league that has never found out how to turn a profit. What transpires in these conversations will determine the outcome of 30 years of hardship and 30 years of defeats. There is a lot of pressure. The stakes are really high. And as of right now, no one is certain how this tale will conclude. If you found this enjoyable, make sure to hit the subscribe button and enable notifications if you want to keep up with all the drama surrounding the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. Your assistance keeps this content flowing and helps the channel expand. Tell me what you believe will happen with the 2026 season by leaving a comment below.